Most gardeners are starving their soil life while thinking they're feeding their plants. They pour on synthetic nutrients, chase NPK numbers, and then wonder why their beds compact, their worms disappear, and their yields plateau. If your soil doesn't have active biology, you're farming dirt, not living ground. And honestly, one of the simplest ways to wake that biology up is the rice water and molasses trick. If you care about growing real food with real nutrient density, subscribe to the channel now, because this is the level we operate at here. No fluff, no recycled advice. Just what actually works in beds, bins, and systems that produce. Most people misunderstand what worms actually eat and what makes them multiply. Worms are not living off your carrot tops. They are feeding primarily on microbes that are feeding on organic matter. If you don't stimulate microbial activity, your worm population stays flat. I've tested this in backyard raised beds, in-ground market rows, and even in controlled vermicompost bins. The beds that get consistent microbial stimulation outperform the ones that just get compost added once or twice a year. Rice water and molasses together create a fast, controlled microbial bloom. Rice water provides starches and trace nutrients. Molasses provides simple sugars, minerals, and a rapid carbon source. When you combine them correctly and apply them properly, you create a short-term feeding event that wakes up bacteria and fungi. Worms respond to that surge within days. Here's exactly how I make the rice water concentrate. When I rinse rice before cooking, I collect the first rinse. That cloudy water is loaded with starch. For garden use, I'll rinse 1 cup of rice with about 2 cups of water, agitate it hard for 30 seconds, and strain it off. That's your base. For a standard 5-gallon application, I dilute that rice water into 4 gallons of dechlorinated water. Then I add 1 to 2 tablespoons of unsulfured blackstrap molasses per 5 gallons, not more. I've tested heavier rates, and all you get is temporary anaerobic pockets if your soil drainage isn't excellent. Stir thoroughly until the molasses dissolves completely. Apply the solution immediately. This is not something you brew for a week. It's a quick food pulse, not compost tea. In a 4x8 raised bed, 5 gallons is enough to evenly drench the surface without flooding. I apply it to moist soil, never bone-dry soil. If your bed is dry, water lightly first. Then apply the rice water and molasses, mix evenly across the surface, and let it soak in. I've done side-by-side comparisons. Beds treated every 2 to 3 weeks during active growing season showed noticeably higher worm casting accumulation on the surface. You'll see it in the mornings, small granular piles. That's your proof. But don't overdo it. Once every 2 to 3 weeks is plenty. Weekly applications can push bacterial dominance too far in certain soils, especially if you're already compost heavy. Raised beds respond faster than in-ground soil. They're biologically more reactive because they warm faster and typically have higher organic matter. When I apply this mix in early spring, once soil temperatures consistently sit above 55 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 13 degrees Celsius, I see worm activity increase within a week. And this is where monitoring temperature actually matters. If your compost or soil is too cold, microbial activity is sluggish no matter what you feed it. I use a long-stem compost thermometer to track both compost piles and deep bed temperatures. The one I've been using is the RioTemp heavy-duty 36-inch compost thermometer. It's rugged, stainless steel, easy to read, and it reaches deep into piles or beds. If you're serious about dialing in soil biology instead of guessing, that's a tool worth having. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Temperature tells you whether your soil food web is active enough to respond to inputs like this. Without that feedback, you're just hoping. Now let's talk about compost piles, because this is where the trick really shines. Feed your soil life, manage it intentionally, and your garden will respond in ways fertilizer alone never could. If this kind of practical, field-tested knowledge helps you grow better food, subscribe to the Farm Logic channel.